wani kama da kai, ai babu wani.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to yet another edition of Africa's Realities. As usual, my name is Mr. Johnson Yakubu Sani. I just want to talk about beauty of a nation. So I'm really talking about the area view of the Nigerian skyline. And to be sincere, when you look at the area view of the Nigerian skyline, you find out that it's really unimpressive. I don't know, especially when compared to Eastern Africa and Southern Africa. But is it because we don't have the same kind of infrastructures they have? I don't think so. But well, I want to give some reasons why our skylines are not looking as impressive as other skylines. And I bet you, to be sincere, it's not as if Nigeria lacks infrastructure, or it's not as if other countries have better infrastructure. I'm talking in terms of quantity or in terms of what you find in a place. Find out all the things you found in a place. It's not as if Nigeria doesn't have, or other countries have better infrastructure than Nigeria. But the truth is that better countries have more beauty, and they kind of look as if they have better infrastructure. Now, before we go into this video, I want you to subscribe and ring the notification bell so that whenever I come with a video, you get to watch them firsthand. Now, let's get to our discussion of today. Now, we are discussing about the Nigerian skyline, the area view of the Nigerian skyline. Now, when you see pictures, let's look at it, of Eastern African cities like Nairobi, for instance. You look at the skyline of Nairobi or the skyline of Addis Ababa, or even the skyline of even when you look at the skyline of es-salam, they look so impressive with all the high rise, the skyscrapers, all the good roads, and all how organized they are. You do not say, what is happening to West Africa? Why is the skyline of West Africa looking so disorganized? Well, let's not forget. Let's give credit to the skyline of Abidjan. No, the skyline of Abidjan is good. Yeah, the skyline of Abidjan looks impressive. Yeah, but apart from Abidjan in West Africa, the other countries, you see, the skyline is not looking impressive. And why is that so? Does that mean that these other countries have not built up their infrastructure like this Eastern Africa? I don't even want to talk about Southern Africa, because especially South Africa skyline, oh my God, they are like America and Europe. You know, even when you come down, not just the skyline, you come down to the streets. Wow, the streets. You go to Cape Town street. Some European countries, cities don't have the kind of city that Cape Town has. You know, so what makes these countries have this so much beauty, and West Africa doesn't have this beauty in our streets, our skyline, and there's just like no beauty in West Africa? Does it mean that West Africa has not built enough or well infrastructure? No. Don't be surprised that the infrastructure that is in Nigeria has far outweighed the infrastructure that are in Kenya. And even, in fact, I want to categorically say that the infrastructure that are in Lagos outweigh the infrastructure that are in Nairobi. I'm telling you, in terms of quantity, in terms of numbers, in terms of the infrastructure that are on ground in Lagos outweigh the infrastructure that are in Nairobi. Although some people argue this, but I want to say so. But when you look at Nairobi, you will say, no, we can't compare Lagos to Nairobi. Well, these are the reasons why we can't really compare these things. Now, the first thing I want to say is this. You see, the first reason why you don't see the beauty of West African cities, but I want to say Nigeria because I know Nigeria very well than other West African cities. Because I'm a Nigerian and I've been to many of our cities. Now, one of the key reasons why you don't see the beauty of our streets or you don't see the beauty of our skyline is that our cities were never built with designated CBDs. So we never had, I don't know, we just build our cities without designated CBDs. Apart from Abuja, because it's a new city and it was planned with a designated CBD, although Abuja own is called CBA, Central Business Area, not instead of Central Business District, whether CBD or CBA, apart from Abuja that was built with a designated CBA. Every city of Nigeria was not built with a CBD. So because of that, you get to find out that our development are scattered everywhere. We don't have a cluster of uptown or downtown. We don't have a cluster of downtown CBD. No, we just have tiny CBDs everywhere within the city. like in every area or every district of the city, you have a little CBD. Another district of the city, you have CBD. Another small CBD with small with ghetto here, with middle class here, with higher class here, with still CBD. You go to here, you have ghetto here, you have middle class here. You now drive again to another district, you have a ghetto, you have a small tiny CBD. If I'm not even a CBD, you have like one highly high infrastructure here. You move from another ghetto before you see another one there. Before this is how our cities look like, because we didn't have the culture of a designated CBD in our cities. But countries who made their cities with designated CBDs, you just find out that they just, where they want to show you, when they want to show the skyline of their cities, they go to the CBDs and you just see everything is together. Now let's take a look at Lagos. You'll be surprised at the number of skyscrapers that are in Lagos. I am telling you, there are enormous skyscrapers in Lagos. But you see, these skyscrapers, they are not clustered together. It's like a little here, a little there. Apart from Marina Lagos, that you have a little cluster of skyscrapers, Marina CMS, apart from there, our skyscrapers is that you go to Ikoyi, you saw some here, some there, some there. You go to Victoria Island, you see some there, some here, some there. You go to Ikeja, you see some there. There are some there. You go to maybe Yaba, you see some. See, they are scattered everywhere. And because they are not brought together to say, okay, let this place be a CBD and let other kind of buildings not be in the CBD, and we just have a cluster of a CBD, that a cluster of high rise or development or infrastructure clustered together at one or two or three adjoining districts to make it a CBD. And then when we look at our skyline, we see beauty. No, we now see different towns everywhere, different settlements that are scattered high-rise there are scattered high-rise here, there are scattered high-rise. So when you look at Lagos, you can never see you can never capture the entire skyline of Lagos, an area view of Lagos. You can only capture an area view of a small part of Lagos. Maybe you capture an area view of the CMS, which is always shown as the high-rise of Lagos. So you can never capture CMS, that is the Marina Lagos, and still capture Victoria Island in the same area view, or you still capture with Ikoyi. No. Either you are capturing only CMS, and you move with your drone, you go to Victoria Island, you can only capture Victoria Island. Or if you see CMS, you only see as a blurry thing, very far there. Oh, that is how, because we don't have a clustered CBD. So it doesn't mean that we don't have the infrastructure there, they are scattered. Now that is one of the things, because our cities, we are not built with designated CBDs, so we have scattered development everywhere, development inside ghetto, development inside ghettos, so development inside ghettos. So when you just go to one place, you see few development inside very rough ghetto and they don't look beautiful. You come to here, you see the same. You go to another place, you see the same. You go to everywhere, you see the same, because there are no designated CBD. And it's just because the cities evolved. They just evolved like that. They were not planned. They evolved. So that is one. Now another thing that makes our skyline not to look so beautiful is that is the culture of mansion and duplexes. Now, let me tell you the truth. In Nigeria, we don't have the culture of uh, high-rise apartment building or skyscrapers, residential skyscrapers. We don't have. I think even up to 25 years ago, I can't recall any building that is from 15-story upward, going upward, that is residential. So whenever we see a skyscraper in Nigeria, it's always a commercial skyscraper. You go to the same marina, the same marina that I tell you, all the skyscrapers in marina, all of them are commercial. There is no residential. So it's just recently that we have started imbibing the culture of this uh, high-rise residential. So because we didn't have the culture of high-rise residential, we are people who believe in mansion. I'm telling you, I don't believe there's any country in Africa that has the number of mansions that Nigeria has. I am telling you the truth. I don't think there's any country in Africa. Everybody wants to have his mansion or his duplex or whatever is on. Nobody will, even when you are building real estate, or even when you are building even when you are going to real estate, it's not like a high-rise residential. No, it has to be a mansion mansions that spread in very large piece of land. Mansion, 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 mansion. I'm not talking about the ghettos. So it's just recently that we are having all these things coming up, like one of the towers of the World Trade Center in Abuja is residential. Like many of the towers that came up within the last 15 years in Lagos that are now coming with residential towers. Before, every skyscraper from 15 story to 30 something, 40 are never residential. All of them in Nigeria, they are commercial. So when you have people who don't minimize their space, you minimize the space. So what 30 mansions, the field that 30 mansions will take can be taken by one plot of land when you have maybe a 30-story residential building. So when you have a 30-story residential building, it can be so large to each floor to contain whatever a mansion will contain, all of them. And then when you are talking about parking space, you do a story, maybe a 5-story of parking space, parking lot. And then you find out that you have minimized space and now you have a 30 residents in one plot of land. But what entails in Nigeria is that you have 30 residents in 30 plots of land. So you don't see the real beauty of the skyline. So it's not as if it's not a culture thing. When you see all these East Africans and all these Southern Africans and they build a high-rise residential and people and they make it Airbnbs in the high-rise residential. Airbnbs are mansions and duplexes on the ground. So it makes their skyline looks better. And even let's talk about the streets. How common? Let's look at the streets. If I'm going to build a if I'm going to build a house that will contain um, 30 residents, rich people, 30 in one plot of land. If I will build a skyscraper that will contain 30 residents in one plot of land, it means that when I'm building infrastructure, I will spend less. Because if I need to build the road that will pass just one plot of land is different from the road that will that will lead you to 30 plots of land. So, Nigeria, we need to be building a lot of roads, pipe-borne water. That's why some places have pipe-borne water, some places don't have pipe-borne waters, because our development is spread everywhere. But if our development is clustered in a CBD or clustered in a high-rise residential, then we know that we'll build the best roads, the best street, the best pavement, the best. But right now, you have to build everywhere, because the development is scattered everywhere. So what am I saying? You might come to look at, oh, what a wonderful street. You don't know what it takes to build that street in Nairobi Street. What it takes to build that Nairobi Street. We have built like how many kilometers from people with mansion, which if we had built a high rise, we would spend all that money we built a lot of the kilometers in just that little space to make it the best. So it just looks like our cities are not beautiful. But what am I trying to say? I'm just saying that it's not as if you have more infrastructure than Nigeria. It's just the way Nigeria is planned, or the way Nigeria evolved. It evolved like that. From colonial, it's just evolving like that. The corrupt government have never thought of planning, and they just release land. They will just say this land is for rich people, this land is for. So there is no planned CBD, there is no planned anything, because they never thought of it. And before you know, all the spaces have been filled with all manners of building. But if we are talking about the quantity of the things on ground, man, don't count Nigeria out. So I hear people say, hey, West Africa don't have infrastructure, but East Africa has infrastructure. It's because, at one place, at one district, you see better infrastructure than West Africa. But when you see all the summation of all the infrastructure, the East Africa don't have the number of infrastructures that are in a West African city like in Nigeria. That's just the truth. The quantity of infrastructure, no, but the organization and the cluster and the coming together, well, yes, that is just the truth. And it still boils down for we not imbibing the culture of a high-rise residential a long time ago, and we just like mansion. Everybody wants to live by himself with his land and everything. So every rich person, nobody wants to live in a high-rise residential. But now the young people coming, they have imbibed this culture, and people are building such infrastructure. So you can buy your house, and somebody buy his own the next floor, another one buys his own the next floor, and then instead of you building your mansion, the next one builds his mansion, the other one builds his mansion, which are our forefathers. That's all they thought about. So, what else can I say? I just want to wade in this argument. There is an argument going in Nigeria. Ibadan is always known as the largest city in Nigeria, but some people will say Lagos. No, how can Ibadan be the largest city? Ibadan is not up to Lagos. Lagos is the largest city. But please, let's get this thing right. Let's get this thing right. There is no city in Nigeria. Well, I don't know. You can disagree. I don't know if you can disagree with this. But there is no city in Nigeria called Lagos City. There is no city in Nigeria called Lagos. That's just the truth. There is only a state in Nigeria called Lagos. There's only a state. The problem is, you see, Lagos, Lagos, the entire Lagos state is a very small parcel of land. It's the smallest in Nigeria. The smallest uh, land in size is the smallest. It's a very small state, and it has the most population. So because it has the most population, so its developments have joined all cities, different cities together, and makes it look like one city. Apart from the rivers and the ocean dividing cities, you just find out that all the cities of Lagos are joined together. What am I saying? Let's look at it. There's Oyo State, there's Lagos State. Lagos State has different local governments. Oyo State has different local governments. So, but when you're calling Lagos, you'll be comparing Lagos to Ibadan. No, Ibadan is just one city. It's just one capital of one. It's just like 2 or 3 adjoining local governments, I think. I will call it one city. So if you are calling Lagos, you have to call the entirety of Oyo State with all the other local government. But just because the other local government are not joined together with Ibadan, you cannot say Lagos is the largest. So Ibadan can only be compared with Ikeja, or it should be compared with Victoria Island, or it should be compared with the different local government. That is how you compare Ibadan. So Ibadan is the largest city in Nigeria. There is no question. There is no Lagos is the largest populated state in Nigeria because there is no city called Lagos. There is no Lagos is a state. So because all your local government are joined together and there is no clear demarcation of your local government, doesn't make Lagos one city. That is for sure. And we thank God for Abuja that we have. And Abuja is really a place that has designated CBD, even though the Abuja CBD is just like 40% developed. But Abuja is well organized. And another designated CBD that is coming up in Lagos is the Eco Atlantic. Check Eco Atlantic. That is a designated planned CBD with high-rise residential and high-rise commercial, and there is no room for ghetto in between anywhere. Just like the Abuja CBD, there is no room for ghetto. And so I think when these 2 CBDs are really constructed, I think you people will start looking at Nigeria high rise, and you know that we really have infrastructures in Nigeria. That is what I want to say. Even though in Abuja, I don't know, but people are calling Abuja virgin land. Abuja is not virgin land. I think the way Abuja is done is that every district has a specific kind of buildings that should be there. So that is why if you are not wealthy enough to have the specific kind of infrastructure that will be in so building, you will be taken to where you can have where your kind of infrastructure can be able to be built. And that is why you see Abuja, you find out that Abuja's development is here, is there. When you have, apart from you having the Wuse, the Garki, and the Asokoro and the Metama, apart from that, every other thing, you see that side is developed, another side is developed, another side is developed, and it's not like a city that developed from the center and is expanding from the side are expanding. It's like a city that has a center and the site and far away has been expanding, and they want to expand from far to come and join the center. It's not as if the center is growing to reach out because everywhere has been earmarked with the kind of thing that will be there. That is why it's not like in other cities in Nigeria. If you have a center, everyone can come and buy land and build and be expanding from the center, and people are expanding and going, and you find different kinds of buildings. No, Abuja is planned. So, but Abuja has infrastructure. But Abuja is not a virgin land. Even though you can find in some places you can see a little bush separating another settlement from another settlement. It's just because the development that should be in that little bush you see has not reached that place. Sorry, I'm talking about Skyline. I just feel like I should be on a more informal today because I've been too formal talking about Nigeria, how we work together. Not today. Let's just talk. Let's just be informal and talk about beauty of our country, beauty of our streets, and our street can be beautiful if we can really have our residential being skyrise so that we limit our infrastructure to certain areas, to certain area. Instead of spreading infrastructure, you are trying to take pipe-borne water here, you are trying to take pipe-borne water there, you are trying to take pipe-borne water everywhere because everywhere is scattered with duplex and with flats and with ghettos. No, if we have the culture of high rise, we find out that you just focus your infrastructure to one side, focus the pipe-borne water there, focus the best roads there, focus everything, and you find out that you have a very good, neat-looking city. Once again, subscribe and ring the notification bell. My name is Mr. Johnson Akosani. Till I come your way with another video. Thank you very much for listening to me.